Welcome to Protea Conversations, episode 7. Today we're talking to Jose. Jose, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Zane, it's good to be here. My name's Jose Portillo. I'm an account manager at Protea Financial.
Great. Jose, when did you start at Protea?
I started 2 years ago in 2019, June 2019.
Prior to Protea, where were you? You don't have to name companies, but sort of what were you doing before Protea?
I was working as a senior accountant, doing a wide array of tasks for wine businesses, everything from payroll to putting together financial reporting for these companies.
Okay, so a lot of financial reporting, a lot of payroll, one business. So you obviously came over to Protea. Can you explain to everybody sort of the difference in your role at Protea versus the role of working with one business?
Yeah, I think everybody would agree that it's a lot easier to keep track of one business that you're working with, as opposed to multiple entities that you work with, which is the case with Protea, since we have multiple clients. It was definitely a challenge at first, but it's been a great experience these last 2 years.
Okay. Tell us how you got into the accounting world. How did you make that decision to become an accountant?
So that's I took a very practical approach to going into accounting. I was exiting 4 years of service in the Marines, and I was trying to decide what the next step of my life would be. Back during these times, the way people went about looking for work was looking through classified ads in these things called newspapers. There wasn't all these fancy websites, with job postings back in those days. And I started to notice a trend as far as like the number of postings for accounting jobs that were out there. So I said, if I'm going to make a career of something, it seems that this career seems to be in demand at the moment. And so that's why I went into accounting.
Really interesting. So 4 years in the Marines, I personally cannot even comprehend what that entails or what it's involved. I would definitely sink in that environment. Was it a difficult transition going from the Marines into sort of a more, I guess not more, less structured world of business?
Not, I wouldn't say that. I think I've been able to take quite a bit of the lessons learned during my 4 years in the Marines, as far as working with a team, leading the team, and there's a lot of people that depend on you as a leader to make the right decisions, and always put forth your best foot forward, right, when you're doing something. And that's always been my approach when doing anything in life. I think giving it your all, you set yourself up for success that way. And even when you fail, which no one's perfect, at least that you give it your all, right? You're 100%, and it's something that you can learn from in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sort of surprise me that it doesn't really matter what environment you are in, but if you're a leader at the same time, you're sort of trying to set the example. And I think that's an important notion when working at Protea, right? We have a team that's looking up to us to make decisions and lead them in the right direction. So I guess a lot of similarities between sort of what you needed to do in the Marines versus what you have to do at Protea.
Yeah, I agree. And uh, leading a team, I always felt like, you have to lead by example. So I never ask someone to do something that I wouldn't do. And you also have to be able to understand that, your team has the skills, and that's why they're in the positions that they're in. And so you also have to understand that you need to trust your team, and that's what's going to set you up for success, right?
Yeah, trust is a big part of being a good leader, and understanding if you give your team the right tools and trust them to do the right thing, that's giving them the opportunity to be successful. People at the end of the day are looking to their leaders to give them that guidance, but at the same opportunity to give them the opportunity to learn and be successful. So those are really, really great points to share with everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
well said.
So currently you're actually doing a little bit of additional studying. Would you like to sort of share what you're busy doing and sort of what it's all about?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed school, uh, believe it or not. Uh, I enjoy learning and learning new things. So part of my process is always to keep my skills up to date. So I recently enrolled in Sonoma State University wine in accounting business certificate that they offer. So that's what I've been currently doing this summer.
You finding it helpful?
Certainly, the way they set it up, it's for people that are both in finance, in the wine business in the finance sense, but also people that are might not have the finance skills. So the first portion of the program is a bit basic when it comes to accounting and finance, because they have to lay down some basic groundwork for the people that don't have that understanding. But very quickly, in the third week, things ramp up, and they go into things such as how to calculate key performance indicators for businesses, how to best calculate your the price of your wine. So a lot of very interesting stuff that they cover in the program.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I always say I love to look back at my basics as well, even in accounting. So, even though I've been doing it for a long time, refreshing myself on the most simplest of terms is super helpful, because at the end of the day, that's what you use on a daily basis. And if you don't know that, you get stuck. So any refresher, I think is a valuable addition, even if it's something that is clearly something but it's good to see it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I agree. Every time I go into basics of accounting, it takes me back to my first accounting class where I was, learning accounning by using a paper ledger and doing debits and credits and T accounts, and just something I haven't done for quite some time. Now that everything's computer and automated.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a crazy concept to think everything is electronic. We work in two different countries, so we're using technology, But whenever I have a difficult problem to solve, I pull out a piece of paper, I draw up my T accounts, make sure things fit. And it's always the best way to solve it, right? It's funny how we sort of drop back into like almost like a primal state. Like let's sort of figure this out. Let's show where different things are, and that little bit of extra sort of solve it the hard way can really be really helpful, especially in some we get some really complicated intercompany things that come through every now and then with these tax structures that have been set up that are absolutely terrible for accounting basis, but help on all the other sides of the business.
Yeah, it's amazing, that how things appear to be complicated nowadays, but if once you break it down to the basics, these accounting fundamentals that have been around for thousands of years, like the first ever written records that we have are pertain to accounting, and it's amazing like how far back this goes.
Yeah, and sometimes I always feel like they made it scary by calling it debit and credit. If they just called it left and right, maybe people would have found it a little bit easier. So tell us about your biggest lesson since you started working at Protea. You've been with us just over 2 years. In that time, what do you feel like is the biggest lesson you've
learned? My biggest lesson is definitely been trusting other people, meaning team members. I've always, prior to coming to Protea, I had this approach where I felt like if I could solve anything, I could do any project, or if there was something that needed to be done, I could do it. But I think working within a team, it's a better approach to doing things, and you're better able to resolve things that way. So working within a team and trusting what they do is the biggest lesson, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one who sort of learned that lesson when coming to Protea, and it's an important one from just in terms of efficiency and having the right people doing the right work at the right time, but also there's a lot of knowledge, right? People have very diverse experiences. Different people have been at Protea for different amount of times, and being able to share that knowledge to come to the right conclusion, and be that coming to me or going to another account manager, or even somebody on your team that might have seen it on another project. That really it's a massive benefit to each one of us, but it's an even bigger benefit to our clients.
Yeah, I totally agree, because obviously one person can't know everything, but as a team, we definitely are able to expand on the amount of knowledge and savvy that can be provided to the clients.
Yeah. Well said. Last question. What is your favorite part of working at Protea?
My favorite part, I would say the flexibility that working at Protea affords us, meaning, for the most part, we're working remotely from home, right? A concept that for the most part was foreign to most people before 2020, as hard as that is to grasp, but I can't tell you how much more time you're afforded when you don't have to spend 2 hours of your day on the road, going back and forth, and you're better you're able to make better use of those 2 hours in your day. So it makes a great difference.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, that commute is just terrible. Until they have reliable public transportation or self-driving cars, I'm going to do everything I can to not have to leave my home. But that might be more a me problem than a everybody problem. But I think it just makes everybody feel a little bit better. You're a little less tired. The week feels a little less shorter, and you'll be able to give more to your projects on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's funny that you say you said something about the self-driving cars, because I don't know how many times that popped into my head while while I was on the road. It's like, when is this going to come around?
Oh, the joys of Bay Area traffic and the grind that it can be. Jose, thank you so much for joining us on Protea Conversations today. It was great to get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, it was great to be here. Thank you, Zane.